Next on AM 1480 WLEA, the Newsmaker Show. Here's Brian O'Neill.
And glad to have with us on this Monday morning, Sean Valentine. He's the Director of Orthopedics and Physical Therapy Services at St. James Hospital. Sean Valentine, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, physical therapy, a very important thing. What are the reasons that people need physical therapy?
Sure. I mean, there's many reasons. It could be to manage any type of pain that they might be dealing with. If they're looking to avoid some type of surgery or injection or dependence on medications, especially the long-term use of pain medications, that seems to be a hot topic these days. If they're looking to prevent any type of injury or declining mobility or their ability to walk or get out into the community. Also looking to improve just their general health or well-being. There's a lot of issues with high blood pressure or diabetes these days, and we can certainly prescribe some type of exercise program to help manage those chronic conditions.
Now, you're obviously right now part of the Canasteel Street, St. James. How are things coming as far as moving things over to the North Hornell area, the old Kmart Plaza for the new St. James?
Sure. So most of our ambulatory services are now over on Seneca Road in the medical office building. A lot of the primary care services, our specialty services, as well as our orthopedic and physical therapy services are all up there.
So you're already in the medical office building, and that's already open?
That is already open. We are already present there.
Are you also back at Canasteel Street as well?
We come down to see inpatients that are on our medical surgical floor, but all of our outpatient physical therapy services are at the new location.
Okay, so you're in the old Kmart area.
Correct, yes.
Okay, will you be in the new hospital?
So we will have a presence. Certainly any of the medical or surgical cases who are inpatients in the hospital, many times they may need a physical therapy evaluation just to help with recommendations to go home or to go to rehab or home with home care services that the patient may need.
Okay, talking with Sean Valentine today. He's the Director of Orthopedics and Physical Therapy Services at St. James. That's interesting to know all that about the medical office building and the old hospital building and the new hospital building.
Absolutely.
Physical therapy. Tell us a little bit more about what they do and how they help people.
Sure. So, our main focus is on helping to reduce some type of pain that an individual may be having or helping to improve or restore mobility deficits that they may have. When a patient comes in on their very first visit, we do a very comprehensive evaluation with them, really to help paint a better picture of what's going on with that individual specifically. We then work with that patient to set very specific goals that we then implement treatment services to help them achieve those goals. And really one of the biggest things that we do is we really help to facilitate relationships. And so whether that's between ourselves and the patient or communicating with that patient's medical physician, we can certainly reach out, especially now that many of us are in the same medical office building. It's very easy for us to do.
Okay. Now, physical therapists, massage therapists, chiropractors, really it's three different things. And wanted to ask you, do you work with the local chiropractors and massage therapists? Can you pick up the phone and say, hey, we're just sending over so-and-so. Say, hey, I got this patient here, and I think this one needs this, and this is the cause of that kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. So I actually have a really great relationship with John Wyan right here in town. He owns his own chiropractor business down there on Park Avenue. We often connect with one another, discuss patients. If I feel like he may be better skilled in a certain area, I may send patients down to him, and vice versa. He may send them up to me. And then as far as massage therapy goes, when I'm looking to discharge patients, I may certainly make recommendations to the massage therapists here in town, once again, for that relaxation or stress reduction that the patient may need.
Sounds great. We're talking with Sean Valentine. He's the director of orthopedics and physical therapy services at St. James Hospital in Hornell. What are some of the new trends in physical therapy?
Sure. I'm not a big fan of the word trend because it often is associated with a fad, but some of the new areas that we're really exploring, especially at St. James, is first and foremost patient communication. So for our outpatient services, we just implemented a new electronic health record for the patients that come in, which, if they sign up for it, they can message us directly electronically with any questions that they might have or any type of follow-up that they may have. So that's something that we're certainly trying to take advantage of. The use of technology that we're trying to use in physical therapy. So we just started a partnership with MedBridge Education, which allows us to create home exercise programs on the internet. And a patient can download their app right onto their smartphone, which will give them very specific videos rather than just a picture to reference for what they may need to do on their own at home. One of the big things that I'm really interested in is our senior rehabilitation. There's been a lot of changes and a lot of research done in this area over the course of the last 10 to 15 years. And one of the big things is really challenging the status quo. And what I mean by that is starting to treat our older adults much more like athletes, but just kind of changing the dosing as far as exercise prescription goes. And really the focus is to help them maintain their level of independence or even restore that to some degree, because I think ultimately all of us want to be able to care for ourselves, and if we can help a patient get back to that, that's certainly something that we would love to do. And then the last one is focus around this vestibular or post-concussion treatment. Certainly concussion is another large topic around athletic discussions. Football is very prominent here in Hornell. And then also with those individuals that deal with vertigo or some type of visual difficulty, there's a lot that we could do potentially from a physical therapy standpoint to help those patients return back to their baseline or normal function.
What sort of things would you do to help someone who just had a concussion? Do you work on some kind of I don't know, what's the word, pressure points on the head, or what would you do there?
Sure. So after sustaining a concussion, they may have some type of inner ear deficit that really impacts their ability to balance. That's certainly something that we can treat in our offices through a variety of techniques. Oftentimes with concussions, they're going to have some type of muscular soreness or stiffness through their neck, upper back, and shoulders. Once again, we can do some hands-on manual treatments to help reduce their pain or stiffness in those areas. And then also, the big thing is a slow integration back into physical activity and ultimately return to sport if it's an athlete here in the community.
Very interesting. Wondering, doctors' offices are always getting new computer, for lack of better phrases, gadgets to do testing on people. You go in for a checkup, say, and instead of doing the old-fashioned blood pressure, or where they wrap it around your elbow, or they might, or upper arm. Or, for the checking your temperature, putting the thermometer in your mouth, now they put, they basically scan your forehead. And you wonder, is there any kind of new computer technology or maybe laser technology or any kind of new devices there for physical therapy?
There is. It should be noted that physical therapists, though, our expertise is in human movement. So really what we rely on is assessing the patient move within our clinic, and we're looking for dysfunction and or a source of pain that the patient may be dealing with, and that's what we're truly trying to assess. We have different technology within our office that we can certainly utilize to help make that process a little bit easier for us. For example, if we had a runner who came in, we can video them running on our treadmill in our clinic and be able to really slow that video down and better analyze what may be going on as far as their stride or their gait when they're running, which then can allow us to create the best treatment plan for that individual.
Talking to Sean Valentine from St. James Hospital. He's the director of orthopedics and physical therapy services at St. James. Going to take a quick break, then check the forecast. We'll be back after this.
With the stock market at all-time highs, cash in your profits now and invest in an asset that can potentially pay for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you're an SEC-defined accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. Call now to learn how you can potentially achieve 20 or more years of income and deduct 100% of every dollar invested against all forms of income. Call 1-800-803-8511. Invest in your future and buy oil. Encore is drilling in an area that is potentially one of the most prolific horizontal oil plays in the entire country. Oil prices are projected to rise, so you need to own a piece of an oil field. Encore Energy is the most active oil and gas operator in its core area of operations. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 1-800-803-8511. You'll be calling directly to the home office of Encore Energy. That's 1-800-803-8511. Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary.
Meteorologist Rob Carolyn joining us now. Hey, Rob. Nicer out there today.
Yes, indeed, Brian. A whole lot milder. And that's going to be a story this week over last week where we were really, really frigid. The frigid air is going to remain bottled up in Canada for a while, and that's going to allow temperatures here in the southern tier to actually turn a bit warmer than normal. We'll certainly benefit by that happening both today and tomorrow. Looks like by about Wednesday, things will start to cool off. But we certainly are going to be dealing with above normal temperatures both today and tomorrow. Today, we start out with a lot of cloudiness. May see a little bit of sunshine develop as the day goes on. High temperatures today, they're going to make their way up to about 50 to 55. Sunrise earlier this morning was at 7:19. It'll set tonight at 5:29. We're looking forward to a little bit of cloudiness tonight. A weak frontal boundary may bring us a shower or two. It'll be breezy 35 to 40 overnight. Now for tomorrow, it looks like we're going to see partial clearing. Won't be quite as warm as today, but still above normal, 40 to 45 tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy, turning colder. Lows will drop down to about 20 to 25. Then on Wednesday, we'll see clouds. There'll be a couple of showers. Temperatures Wednesday afternoon between 35 and 40, but certainly not talking about the below zero conditions we had last week, Brian.
Back on Newsmaker, I'm Brian O'Neill, and talking with Sean Valentine from St. James. You may know him. He's the director of orthopedics and physical therapy services at St. James Hospital in Hornell. In segment one, we talked a lot about the new St. James and different techniques that they use and in physical therapy. You have some new people at the physical therapy clinic. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So I have recently myself returned back to Hornell. I returned to St. James in October. We just hired a new physical therapy assistant who is a local down in Canasteel. We have an experienced physical therapy assistant who's been on our staff for, I believe, the greater part of 10 years now. And then right now we're also looking to expand. So we have an opening for a new physical therapist to join our team. We are conducting some interviews right now, and we're looking forward to having a new staff member join us shortly.
Special services you're offering these days?
Sure. So I think really a better way to think of it is what makes our service special to the community. And so there's a couple different things that we do that I think are unique to St. James. The first is we offer discovery sessions or screenings to patients where they can come in to us at no cost. And we can do a quick screen, whether that's through an oral history, or we might just do a few different examination techniques. And what we will do with that information is provide it back to that patient and give them ways that we are going to be able to help them. And that can help to facilitate their thought process when they're seeking out some type of healthcare service. What we also offer is to our patients that do come in and go through our services, we offer one-on-one care at all times, meaning that when you come in as a patient, you are the sole focus of that clinician during our treatment, which typically lasts somewhere between 45 and 60 minutes. This way it allows us to really be individual to and specific to that patient. We also offer same-day and walk-in appointments for patients in the community. And then I think one of the big things that I've really been trying to implement is communication with that patient's healthcare provider or physician or nurse practitioner. And as I stated earlier, now the fact that many of us are in the same building, I can walk right down the hallway and talk to your doctor about what's going on with your condition, ultimately to help achieve the greatest possible outcome for that patient.
Sean Valentine, are there any advantages to being hooked up, connected, affiliated with UR Medicine, University of Rochester?
Certainly. So, many of our patients around this area may have to seek out some sort of specialty service that's up in Rochester, or just maybe used to receiving some of their healthcare services up there. And if those are within the University of Rochester medicine system, any of their notes can be accessed right back here in Hornell. So say you go up and have to have an orthopedic surgery done in Rochester. We have access to those surgical notes. We have access to the in-office notes that you had follow-ups with your provider, which makes our job much easier from a physical therapy standpoint, knowing specifically what was done with you, and then we can build our treatment program based off of that information.
You ever run, and obviously I wouldn't ask for names or anything like that, but you run into high school athletes. Do you see them? How quickly after a surgery would you see someone like that?
It's going to depend greatly on what type of surgery is done. What I try to communicate to many of our providers is the sooner you can get them into therapy, the sooner I can start helping them on their road to recovery. I myself, back when I was a student here in Hornell, I was on the basketball team, I had an ACL injury.
ACL?
ACL, yeah, a knee injury. And I had surgery for that. It took me about 6 to 8 months to really return back to playing sport. Now, that might be a little bit more on the extreme, whereas if it's a broken bone, you could look anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks, just depending on what type of fracture may have occurred.
I would always think of you guys in terms of broken bones and, the obvious things like that, broken arms, broken legs. But concussions, that was kind of news to me that you guys deal with concussions too. That's something I guess local athletes, there's a lot of focus on that these days, and more so than ever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a large topic with, the NFL being such a large entity and all the focus around concussions of their athletes. A lot of that has spilled out onto the local level, and I think parents are becoming more aware of the signs and symptoms of a concussion, and it is a serious issue, and it's to be taken seriously. But the great thing is that we have healthcare providers here in Hornell. Physical therapists are part of that, who can help any type of athlete, or even if it's just somebody here in the community that is in a car accident and sustains a concussion. We can help them return back to their normal daily function with less pain, an easier ability to be able to concentrate, or if it is our athletes, return them back to sport safely.
How can people get an appointment?
Sure. There's a few different ways. You can stop into our clinic. We're located at 7309 Seneca Road North. We're in Suite 108 in the new medical office building. You could certainly give us a call. We are a 607-385-3790 number. Or if you do have any questions, I certainly encourage people to reach out via email, and they can ask me directly. They can contact me at sean.valentine@sjmh.org. Sean is spelled SHAWN.
So, Sean Valentine, we've been speaking with Sean Valentine. Learned a lot of interesting things. So, if you're younger, or the parent or grandparent of someone younger, and you got an athlete in the family, maybe, or maybe just a kid that, like a lot of kids do, fall out of a tree. I had a nephew who did that. Maybe you're a little bit older and you've had an accident. In middle-aged people, we think of the senior citizens and we think of the youth. What do you mostly see the middle-aged people for?
Sure. It could be a variety of things. Neck and shoulder pain if they have to, say, sit in an office job for multiple hours, week after week, month after month, and they start to develop some type of neck or shoulder pain. We can help with that. We can do an ergonomic assessment to help them set up their workstation to hopefully prevent that neck and shoulder pain from returning. I know we have a lot of weekend warriors in the community that like to get out of the office and play on the weekends. We have golf season certainly coming in the spring and summer. We can analyze golf swings. We can create exercise programs to help improve those individuals' mobility, whether it's to hit the ball further or just to improve the mechanics of their golf swing. These are all things that we can do in our office.
And one final question: does anybody ever come to physical therapy just because they've got a game or some sport and they just want to be warmed up, stretched up, stretched out, anything like that?
Yeah, so one of the big things that we really try to do is to empower our patients. And so what we do with that is teach them what they need to do so that they don't necessarily always need to rely on physical therapists. It's all about fostering independence for that individual. So usually we try to educate more and rely less on our actual hands-on ability to, stretch or do any form of actual manual therapy. I always like to say we're in the business of trying to help people help themselves, essentially.
Sean Valentine, his email, sean.valentine@sjmh.org. Phone number 385-3790 if you want to set up an appointment. Sean Valentine, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate it.